Like the BPTI and IVD, if it's individuality.
Indonesia would be a good example, isn't it? It's not individual.
But if it's individuality, for example, in Australia, you can say that, but because it's too high for 90%. In Australian-born Australian, educated Australian, if they go to another country, you can see they're trying to protect their individual things because PTI is very high. Yes. The Middle East culture, including Turkey too. And you can see they are actually, worship their chef, just or manager or boss. That's kind of things, That's understandable that they can easily adapt to that environment. But when it takes someone, it's like, can be, I don't know, maybe there is.
Use me as an example, I won't take offense. That's easier, just use me.
It can clash.
They take longer to become part of the group.
That was my question. It can be interesting to investigate that. I'm not saying.
Thank you very much. I like a good demographic question to ask about the training.
Yeah. Anyone who's well trained, just keep it going. Excluding.
Yeah, well, they contaminate the sample.
What is the experience in Indonesia?
Maybe one question is the education.
For example, foreign companies and those who interact with foreign companies. Excuse me. Do you want to share that with us, like in terms of the impact of national culture in general in Indonesia?
I think it's this significant impact because it's the way the people's working is if they big trains in like in developed countries and working in say company from developed countries, this can be seen. Although I mean, as you mentioned, if you can go back to the local company within 6 months, probably less.
Back to your original.
Yeah. But I think back to your question, I'm not familiar with the Hofstede, but I think the demographics is important because then you know what factors that will influence these particular factors and practices. Then you can discuss it. If not, it's difficult for you to discuss and recommend your findings. Yeah. So it's examples that you can say the place for training affecting the preference. So for example, it's locals, internationals. Okay? You can ask them where do you train. The train is locally or internationally. International, you can ask another steps. Europeans, Asians, United States. So it will help you. If there is no differences between on their response, that's fine. You already proved there's no differences on that one. But if there is, then you can find.
You're aware about it.
That would be very interesting.
Because it's not difficult to ask that, right? I think it's more difficult to ask the factors. Because you can ask them, okay, you there, and then it's in what part of the country you come from, so how much experience you have to work, what typical contractors that you've been involved with, for example, the locals. So I think it's real help.
But Dr. here, I'm aware about that type of question normally, as I see in the literature, will decrease the respondent. They don't like to go in deep to their specific question.
No. It's actually just before they fill in. We know if we want to see, okay, we want to also understand our respondent. So how we can understand the respondent if they don't giving some unless you specifically said that if you're not this part of the group, you're not filling the questionnaire. So this, but if you don't do that, the main problem you cannot explain anything. This you assume they don't have any impact or influence. But I think it's probably.
Any other question?
No.
Actually, I'm very happy today because a lot of comment and a lot of yes.
I'm not quite familiar with knowledge and sharing concepts, and I haven't started on PhD yet. But regarding the organizational culture, I do believe organizational culture who shape this kind of practices. But in your sample, you have three bodies of government. The first two of them, for me, that they have the similar culture inside them, because the first is the Minister of Education, the second one of Higher Education. However, the third body is somehow have its own different culture. So my recommendation is you either consider the first two only in your sample, or you give special considerations to the third body results and compare them with the first two bodies of results. So you should control this. The differences in organization culture.
It is very, very interesting question, because when we start thinking about our sample, we was thinking about how we separate organization culture than national culture. I suggest that using three entities, it seems like it is the same name, Ministry of Education, but I believe and I know exactly that their way of working with their project is totally different. Either the name of the position, there are many different in organization culture, and many researchers as well suggest that organization culture is somehow part of national culture. It cannot be excluded as a separate thing. It is part of national culture. And when we have three samples, and I believe they have their own way of dealing with the project, I think we can more focus in national culture, not in organizational culture.
Hassan, it's very easily to prove. Yeah. Just use the statistical differences, and then you find out that they have influence or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask them, you are come from the ministry of that, just one, and then you put it in statistics, half a minute, but we got the results. That's the beauty of it.
That's from a practical point of view. Again, from the clinical conceptual way, what you're saying is correct only if organizational culture is a variable in the equation. But if you make the assumption that everybody works for the public sector, somehow, that's to do with projects and buildings and whatever, will have the same organizational culture, then organizational culture, whether for higher education or for schools, doesn't play a significant role in it. Okay? And I think the key word here in Hassan's work was employees' preference. When you talk about preference, you're saying what I prefer has nothing to do with what my organization is or says to me.
Yeah.
So my preference is to spend some time with my students here, regardless what the university tells me about writing papers and this and that, you know what I mean? National culture, I want to feel close to them, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that what you are saying is correct only if organizational variable is a factor in the equation, but by excluding it, we'll never eliminate it, but it will have a very insignificant impact. Because the question is about what you prefer. Do you prefer giving a lecture, doing this, doing that? It has nothing to do with what the system of the organization is.
Force you to do.
So just if you could just close the door. This in your thesis that you are doing research about public sector, and
I'm doing that in a title in educational building project in Saudi Arabia.
Because you know, sorry, we didn't catch your name. Shishan. If you do this and allow a private sector company that somehow authorized to build, you will find some, despite they have this national culture, but here you have the organizational culture playing a role.
Private or public.
Okay, they will say, look, because there is cost effectiveness, there is a way of doing it faster, there is a higher profitability. Suddenly, there is a driver that it doesn't exist in another equation. Then you have to talk about the organizational culture and leadership and all that jazz that comes with it.
Fahad.
Questions? Oh, another fact.